Yeah, we got a late dance going on here.
Yeah, man, it's always a late dance.
Yeah, my apologies to those of you that tuned in at 11 p.m. We had some stuff going on, and now we're here.
We're here, Bill. We're here, ready. Man. We're here. Yeah, they're still here too. So let's do it. Let's do it.
So, what I want to talk about.
What do you want to talk about?
It's something different, a different topic.
Okay.
And I'm going to come up with the first one. It's what's missing in wrestling. It doesn't have to be stuff in the ring. It can be a periphery, something or other. It could be a collectible. But I was thinking earlier today that one of the things that's missing, and if it comes back, and there's kind of a comeback on the newsstands, is the wrestling magazines. People, were you one of the kids that waited at the newsstands waiting for the wrestling magazines to come in?
No, I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't wait, but they'll be at bookstores, and I would read them. Yes.
Oh, you wouldn't buy them?
No,
it's okay. No, and most people didn't.
But, I would just sit there and just go through it and just look at the pictures and stuff like that. And
there was a flavor.
I would see like a Barry Windham and the top 10 and all that good jazz.
Oh, so you like the ratings, the best part of the magazine?
Yeah, I was big part of top 10. I was a top 10 guy. Yes,
I was the guy responsible for the ratings. I took in PWI, Inside Wrestling, the Wrestler. I took. I used to call every office, even Don Owen in Portland, Oregon, and Carlos Colon and Puerto Rico, and just go over, what the magazine's coming out a month and a half from now. And there were some promoters that would, like Vince Sr. once in a while would tell me, well, why don't you put so-and-so, like put maybe Dusty Rhodes number 3, because we might be having him come in a month and a half from now. And then there were promoters like Vern Gagne who would tell me, oh, I don't know. And he'd put me on the phone with Greg or his son Greg or Al DeRusha, and they would tell me what's going on. But Vern never wanted to break kayfabe. He didn't want me to know that he knew. But those rankings, not just reading them in the bookstore or the magazine store, but they were the highlight of what a lot of people bought those magazines for. It was holy grail with the wrestlers too. I would go backstage at a spot show. Gee, what's a spot show? What they used to call one of the weekly shows that weren't televised.
Mhm.
And I go into a dressing room and somebody like Ivan Putski would say to me, "Hey, Bill, why do you got me number 4 and Chief J Strongbow number 3 when I know I could beat him?" The wrestlers were very serious
Mm.
about the top 10 rankings.
Oh,
Very serious.
yeah.
The
As they
one thing,
should.
the
As they
one
should.
thing we did that PO'd people terribly in one genre of it, and I don't think I ever told this story, was one time we did the top broadcasters, and I think we made Gordon Soley number 1,
Mm.
Jim Ross number 2,
Indeed.
indeed, and I forgot who it was number 3, but he called me so upset that how could we make him number 3
Mm.
when he thought he was better than Gordon Soley and Jim Ross.
Wow.
I'm trying to fetch for who the heck that
What
was. And it
what year?
wasn't Shivani. Huh?
What year was it?
Well, back when Gordon Soley was in his prime,
Could it
and
be Lance Russell?
no, Lance was
No.
never like that.
Okay.
No, who else? Give me some more names.
Bob Cottle,
No, Bob's not that kind of.
uh, Crockett, David Crockett.
It could have been David Crockett kidding around with me.
Gotcha.
And I
Okay.
used to tell him, he gets too excited. "Oh, look, Tony, there he goes. There he goes. He's hit him, Tony. He's hit him."
Yes. Well done.
Yeah,
Well done. It's a good David
thank you.
Crockett.
Thank you. Well, I do them all. Well, indeed, this is Gordon Soley, and a proboscis has been broken, and we will be right back. I don't do a good JR. Well, that's a heck of a slobber knocker. And by the way, I heard his colon cancer surgery went really well today, so bless you
Yes, indeed.
there. The broadcaster that never got any real um, real recognition was a guy named Bob Caudle from Pittsburgh. I thought he was
Yeah,
one of the best.
I just said Bob Cottle. Yeah.
Oh, no, not Bob Caudle. Bill Cardell.
Okay,
Bill
Cardell.
Cardell. He'd
Gotcha.
go Pittsburgh wrestling where anything could happen, and it usually does. But anyway, getting back to the magazine thing. So there, and just working in the office and having editorial meetings about the stories, developing pictures in the dark room. But for the
Nice. Ooh,
consumer,
okay.
that was the internet way, way, way before the internet.
How was it? How was Bill Mercer back in the day?
Um,
World class.
we didn't see those shows much. I
Really?
usually no, because they weren't. I lived in New York and we couldn't
It
get
was
their
Texas.
TV.
Yeah.
But every week, Gary Hart, who worked for Fritz Von
Mhm.
Erich in the office there, he would always call me, "My man, let me tell you what's going on." He was great. But that was one of the fun parts of putting the magazines together was when
World
I called.
class. World class, real quick, is one of my all-time favorite pro wrestling intro theme songs.
Oh yeah, how'd it go? This is unscripted, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
When I was growing up, the Capitol Wrestling, Vince McMahon Sr., had a show from Bridgeport and from Washington, and the theme music was dun, 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 dun. Hold on one sec, Dr. Chris. I have to get something.
Okay.
Don't go away.
After's alley. He's got something. He's
No, I'm not in
got a
that.
hidden gem. Unless you have your Tic Tacs.
No, my throat was dry.
Oh, okay. There you
The
go.
little sparkling ice. But what do you have in terms of questions about the wrestling magazines before we go into one thing that you missed that's not around?
As far as the magazines are concerned,
You have any questions?
not regarding the magazines that I can think of offhand. Okay, let me ask you this before we get into
fans can chime in.
before we get into like hot topics because they want headlines.
Yeah.
So basically, when it comes to the magazines, you and I have talked many magazine stuff in our car rides together, man. And
We have.
you got so many awesome gems. How was it? You mentioned something really interesting about the people being so serious about the top 10. You know,
Yes.
if you had a current top, who would be your number one right now if you were to have a top 10 currently?
So you're talking about like mixed top 10 from all the companies.
Yep.
Yeah, we generally would put um, the world champion as number one.
Okay.
So it would have been Jey Uso, world champion. Number two would have been John Cena.
Okay.
Then we put number three would be John Moxley.
Okay.
Boy, this is a good question. Actually, number two would be John Moxley. The two world champions would be first. Then um, we would go with Cena.
Okay.
Um,
Why the
then
difference?
well, you
Because he's
already said
WWE champion.
what's that?
Why the difference? Because he's WWE champion versus
Yeah,
world champion.
we generally use them
Okay.
first. Then probably one of the Japanese champions.
Okay.
So then we who's the current Ring of Honor
What about
champion?
NWA?
Well, I'm getting to that, but who's the current Ring of Honor
Ooh.
champion? Is oh, gee, the not Bandito. Was it Bandito?
Did he beat Jericho? I think Jericho
I
was
think
the
he
last.
did. I think it was
Okay.
Bandito. I
So there
think
you
so.
go.
Somebody
Yeah.
will correct me. Then the NWA champion, who is currently
Believe Bram. What's my guy's name? It used to be Bram in TNA.
yeah, I know. I can't think of his name either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lattimore. Tom Lattimore.
Yeah, Tom Lattimore.
Yeah.
Tom Lattimore.
Tom Lattimore. Yeah.
Yeah, then we'd go to the TNA. Well, we forgot TNA would go two spots higher than Tom Latimer. So Joe Henry just lost to Trick Williams.
Williams.
So it would have been Trick Williams.
Which I think is a really good idea, by the way. Good
Yeah,
call.
yeah. And then we would do one of the regional champions, but there aren't any regions anymore. So
MLW.
yeah, who's their world champion currently?
I can look it up. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, the MLW, and then we would do one of the other, maybe AAA.
Which is Alberto El Patron. It's the
Oh,
AAA
that's right.
champion.
That's
Mega
right.
champion.
That's right. So
The
that would be
current
like
Matt Riddle is the current
Matt
champion.
Riddle. So I
And,
don't think that I could put a tag team top 10 together right now because most tag teams are not steady tag teams anymore. You have a few of them like the War Raiders and the Motor City Machine Guns. Trying to think in AEW tag team champion. Oh, the Hurt. I would put the Hurt Syndicate number one.
there you go.
They're the best tag team on the face of the earth at this point.
Very nice.
Intimidating, excellent workers. Number two would probably be Kofi and the WWE, the New Day.
Okay.
Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, the Ring of Honor champions. It kind of stuck after that.
Okay.
The steady tag teams.
There you go. Yeah.
John Cena and Logan Paul, how are they going to do?
So it was a DQ, right?
They're going to team up.
Well, first of all, let me give Bill Apter his flowers. Although I don't agree with the decision, I absolutely want to give my friend his due recognition, his due flowers, because you called Kofi, you called Cody Rhodes coming back
Oh,
and a
I
run
did.
in
Thank you.
at
Thank
Certain
you.
Night's main event.
And I
So
didn't know it in
good
advance.
job. Yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
good feeling. Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't bring me flowers. Anyway, great song. I love that song. Now, wait, before we go and talk about, I'm jumping topics because I want to know about Logan and Cody, but what's one thing that you miss in pro wrestling? And again, it doesn't have to be something in the ring. What do you miss from growing up watching pro wrestling that we don't have anymore?
Kayfabe, man.
Yes. Oh, man. Yes.
Yeah. Kayfabe.
But I
100%.
can't tell you what that means. No, of course I can't.
Kayfabe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 100% kayfabe, man. I just, you know, I don't think the business is protected the way that it should be.
No, absolutely not. The magician's secrets have been revealed and
Yes.
everybody knows it. Now everybody in the business reveals it and they'll go,
Yes.
well, I don't want to insult your intelligence. We know who's going to win. And
Yeah. Yeah.
The Rock was so guilty. The Rock was so guilty in that thing that he said to Dave LaGreca, Dave,
Yeah.
relax, calm down. It's all
Yeah.
scripted and it's all
Yeah.
this. And
Bad
oh,
call, man.
man.
Do you think that, the Rock's, he's been around for 30 years almost, man, in business.
Yeah.
And you think that he know better. You think that he would know better being in the business for nearly 30 years on top of having such an executive role, in the
Yes.
entire
Yeah.
company. Don't wouldn't you think that he would honor kayfabe and protect the
Somewhat.
business?
Somewhat. But he dumped it out the window.
Yeah, even in the interview with McAfee, man, he was like, "Yeah, putting the Rock aside and talking to Dwayne Johnson." I'm like, "Oh, come on, man! You got to like." I remember when Undertaker for 25 years just wore black when he went outside. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The Sheik, that he was just
The original Sheik,
featured.
not the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, not the Iron Sheik, but the Sheik, the original Sheik. He wouldn't go outside without people calling him
I've told
Sheik,
you that because I
and
knew.
and people would come into restaurants and stuff like that, and as soon as they get near him, he would get back in character and
Oh, yeah.
start speaking a certain way.
So you
Like
just
stuff like
reminded me
that
of
is
something.
great.
This week I watched the two-part, very sad documentary on Pee Wee Herman on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
And the times he had to become Paul Rubens toward
Yeah,
the end of his life was like the Undertaker having to become Mark Calloway. And when Undertaker did that Hall of Fame speech, to me, that killed the whole kayfabe thing because he was
really.
Mark Calloway and he
Mhm.
said, I play a character. And
Yeah,
now they all say they play characters.
yeah, yeah,
Well, actually, I'm not really me.
yeah. And that would be like that.
I'm William Stanley Apter.
There you go. That would be like Clark Kent saying, "Hey guys, all right, I'm not Superman. I mean, I'm Superman. It's I'm not really Superman. It's the whole point of Clark Kent and Superman is that people don't know that Superman is Clark Kent.
And it's
That's
so obvious with the glasses. And as
yeah,
soon as he takes them off, oh, that's you,
but
Superman.
but that's the point. It's just like
Yeah,
they don't know. They're not supposed to know. That's
I
your
know.
Clark Kent,
It's
right?
kayfabe.
You're not supposed to know that Bruce Banner. You know what I mean? Like you're not supposed to know those things.
It's
And
kayfabe.
yeah, and that you have to protect the business that way, man. So I mean, the point of pro wrestling is that it's choreographed, it's scripted, it's supposed to suspend your disbelief. But if you continue to try to muddy the waters of saying, okay, this is the character, this is the real person, I mean, I think it
But
creates a false sense of connection with the audience that they're not supposed to go into the locker room with you,
right,
metaphorically.
yeah,
I think that
yeah,
they are too much nowadays.
yeah. But it's improv choreographed because these guys don't write down. Well, you do this, then I do this, then I do. So for a 20-minute match, they'll call it in the ring. See, I'm breaking kayfabe. I never used to
Unless
do
you're
that.
like a Ricky Steamboat or a Randy Savage.
Well, right. Randy Savage used
They
to
would,
write things on his hands. Oh, I
yeah,
remember seeing him. I remember seeing him do that. But
Mhm.
yeah, and now they're doing things on Netflix where they're going behind the curtain, where everybody's just revealing
Not a
everything.
fan.
It's
Not
just,
a fan. I'm not a fan.
I'm
Yeah.
not either.
Yeah, I mean, you got to protect that stuff, man. You know, I mean, your whole bread and butter, especially with TKO, especially with the TKO affiliation. It's like you already have the element of combat sports with UFC.
UFC, sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
You already have that part. Give us the entertainment. Now, UFC is entertainment, but it's combat sports. Now, what you don't want to do in WWE is you don't want to get to the point where you're looking like a Timu version of UFC. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to do that. You want to have that delineation. You
Oh,
want it to be
absolutely.
sports entertainment. You want it to be
Well,
kayfabe. You want it
they're
to be
trying to
character.
put it on the same level because that's why they have a lot of the UFC fighters in the audience at the premium events now,
Yeah.
because they want to keep it like some of the fighters want to get in there and beat up WWE
Not a
guys.
fan of that, and that's the
Um,
reason why a lot of UFC talent, you know, they're not big fans of pro wrestling
yeah.
because they believe that it's fake. You know what I mean? And they have that type of stigma towards the WWE. You got to separate yourself from that and say, hey, you know what? This is our niche. We're
Oh,
not
yeah.
trying to be like UFC. We're characters. We're stories. We're saga. We're episodic
But I
television.
don't want to hear, see, being an old school fan, I don't want to know that. When I was growing up, even there, though they were characters, they weren't as broad as the characters as they have today, but
Mhm.
still, I suspended belief, and I didn't even,
Yeah.
people would say, "Oh, it's all fake." Well, I love to watch it, and I never really questioned it because I was trying to give myself a real experience of it.
Yeah.
That it's real. This is
Mhm.
real, and this is my sport.
Mhm. Mhm.
So my
Yeah,
question,
I think there can still be a realness to it. I think when you break kayfabe, it really shatters that though. I think like you can bring there's a difference between it being like real nowadays, but at the same time, even with a good movie, even with a good show, you can still invoke emotion to the point that the viewer engulfed
oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
ingratiated
yeah,
in the product, that we're like into it so much that we step out of reality and we get into a good movie. There's
yeah,
people
yeah.
who cry for a good movie. There's
Sure.
people who cry for a good episode or something
And
like
that's
that.
what
That's
wrestling's
what we're
supposed to
supposed to.
be like.
Yes, yeah.
You're
That's
supposed
that's
to
that's what it's supposed to
suspend,
do as far as emotion
right?
is.
But you always have somebody sitting next to you at a live show. Oh, that was terrible. That was fake.
Yeah.
Guy
Did you
dies in the
experience that?
ring. That guy dies in the ring. That was fake. You know that, right?
Yeah, it's all a work, man. It's
Going to
like
come back under a mask. The masked
exactly.
dead man. The masked
Remember
dead man.
let me ask you this, Bill. What's the craziest conspiracy theory that you've heard about uh in the pro wrestling world in your time?
Flush that out a bit. What do you mean?
So like, a dead person saying, people saying that he's not really dead. You
Oh,
mentioned like a dead
very
person coming under a mask, or what's the
no,
biggest
no. Very early in my career, where I got a call from WWF President Willie Gilsenberg telling me that Bearcat Wright died.
Hmm,
And we printed the story.
really?
And the magazine came out. And remember, there was no internet or anything. And I got a letter from a fan in Toronto with a picture of Bearcat Wright after the
Mm,
story came out, telling me, Mr. Apter, you have made a grave error.
mm,
That was it. And
ooh,
and I went into Mr. Weston, my boss, and he said, that's impossible. And it turns out that allegedly Vince Sr. Was having some to do with Bearcat, allegedly. I don't know if this is true, and had Willie Gilsenberg call me and spread that rumor. When
oh
I
wow.
met when I met Bearcat Wright, maybe 2 years later, down in a dressing room in Florida,
Hmm.
he said to me, I was going to sue you guys over that, but that was the best publicity I ever had in my life.
There you go. There you go, man.
But that would be it.
Yeah, yeah. If you were to do that nowadays, man, you would get eaten alive by IWC.
Oh my goodness, I get eaten alive currently on. I'm gonna. You know what? Why they're eating me alive right now? Because
Why is
I've
that?
gone on some of my other podcasts that I do, the Time Machine and Wrestle Votes, and I said that the internet community, and I know your feeling on this, so I'm just telling you why it's out there, is they're saying that John Cena's heel turn is horrible. It doesn't work. Blah blah blah. I don't buy it. That's inside. That's internet wrestling community people. It's not the people, the kids and the fans that are watching it. I think he's growing in the heel role, and I don't think it's as bad as people on the internet are saying it is. It's just my opinion. I know you have a different opinion, and I yes, the viewership is lower, right? But that doesn't mean it's just him. He's not on TV all that often. So it's not just him. It's a lot of stuff in the product. But his heel turn when he attacked Jey Uso, I was like, man, after beating up Ron Killings and then R-Truth, and then coming out totally unexpected for him to come out with Jey Uso,
Yeah.
beating Jey Uso up. And it's just very good. He's coming across like a real good heel. And when
Mm,
he's telling the fans, you tell me I suck, well, you suck. And I'm
mm,
sick of this. The part with The Rock is almost done and forgotten. It's a
mm.
different part of Cena's heel turn at this point to me. And I like what he's doing.
Now, why is Cena a heel?
Well, because the Rock angle, of course.
Right. Like, why is he a heel now? What's the purpose of
Oh,
him being?
because he's sick and tired of all the years. So you're going to try and psychoanalyze this. And I'm just telling you how I feel as a fan, that I like what's
That
happening.
doesn't answer my question.
Okay. So give me the question again.
Why is he a heel?
Because he's tired of the fans going, John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. Even though he gets fans that go, let's go Cena, he's
Yeah.
going back to the beginning when
Mm,
he was going to, he was trying to be a nice guy and the fans turned on him and they said he sucks. So he tried to please them, just like he said, and like
mm,
his father told me. So now he's PO'd. He's
mm,
realized that he does not want to please the people, to please the fans anymore. They hate his movies.
mm.
They hate who he was. So he doesn't care anymore. I want to take your money, take your TV ratings, ruin what this is, and goodbye.
Okay. All right.
Was that a good composition?
Of
If
why
I,
he's a heel?
if I was writing a composition?
Of course, because it's pinned by you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You could say no. But no,
uh,
I don't want to analyze it. I just want to say I think he's doing a great job as a heel, and I hate that the internet's tearing him apart.
don't block me from analyzing it, Bill Apter.
What's that?
I said, don't block me from analyzing
No,
it.
I'm not. I hear you on Vince Russo, and I know your feelings, bro.
So let me do this. Actually,
Go.
let's give the fans an opportunity to express their feelings of John Cena's heel turn. What would you grade currently John Cena's heel turn? Comment below. Matter of
Good,
fact, before
good
we get off
question.
the air, just go ahead and dump some grades on there as far as what you would grade John Cena's heel turn out, and I'll read them before we get off the air here. So
I'm giving him an A at this point.
okay,
Wait,
A,
let me
A
do it.
for
Hold on. A. I
Apple.
did it.
You give him an A.
You heard me.
C, somebody said. Go ahead and fill these up. You fill them up before. There's a lot of people here on live, so go ahead and fill those
Oh, well,
grades up.
if we got another 5 minutes, let's see what they're giving him. I can go through it.
F.
Oh,
So
failure.
far we got C, we got F.
Ooh.
Um, I'm not going to spend the time with evaluating that. I've said that.
No. We
I've
asked
given
for
my thoughts plenty of before, so this is the time for the fans.
We have any
Hey,
more of this?
like I said. Cena's heel turn. Okay. What else we got before we get off here? D. Pretty low average. Pretty low average so far. Let's see here. Keep them going. Keep them going. This is good. This is good interaction. Live interaction.
I
Your
like
grade,
this. I like this.
John Cena's heel turn. What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? What do you say?
A, B, C, or D. I'm sticking with my A at the beginning. I I thought it was A at the beginning with the whole thing with the Rock. Then it fell off to maybe B or a C, and now after the last few weeks, I'm looking at it as an A again. It's gradually getting better.
All right. Well, after analyzed, gave his view again, so it's time to give mine. No, I'm not going to do that.
Go for it. No, go. What's your grade, Dr. Chris?
I'm not going to get. I'm going to say my grade, but I'm not going to get.
You don't have to go into it. Just
I'll
give me a
say
grade.
just straight up grade D.
Okay.
Yep, that's my grade. I'll give him a D. All right, Sportskeeda Nation, go ahead and continue to put those grades in and comment below. What grade and why over the past 3 months since he's been heel? What grade did you give John Cena?
Yeah.
Get a headline for the socials there for the YouTube. What grade would you give John Cena?
John Cena's heel turn. That's a great headline. And I want to say that he teaming with Logan Paul, I think they're going to come to blows, and we're going to see Logan Paul, John Cena, because Logan Paul has said that he'd love to wrestle John Cena. So this is a really great setup for it.
Okay.
At the next PLE.
The setup. So when you say setup,
the setup for it.
So you say setup. They come to blows. So you just schedule the match between John Cena and Logan Paul.
Absolutely, but not the same night. Not the same night. At the next pay-per-view.
Not the same night, but
yeah,
two of the biggest heels in the company. You just say, "Hey, let's just do a match."
Yeah. I think people would would like to see Logan. Remember, see your feeling and my feeling of heel versus heel or babyface versus babyface is totally different.
Right, and here's the problem with that, Bill. In my opinion, if we want to stay with kayfabe, it ruins it because how is it if there's heel versus heel? Like it used to get to the like going back to the Sheik, baby faces and heels would be in different tables. I remember I'm friends with Bobby Fulton, and he would invite me to his shows to do media and stuff like that. There used to be two areas, two
baby faces and heels.
Baby faces and heels. So that's what I grew up with that type of dynamic. If you're just slapping heel,
the dynamic I grew up with.
If you're just slapping heel versus heel with absolutely no rhyme or reason.
No, there'll be a rhyme or reason there, though.
What's the rhyme or reason?
Hold on. Going back to my days growing up, you got Bruno Sammartino against Pedro Morales. You had Bruno Sammartino against Bobo Brazil. They put baby faces against baby faces, and sometimes they'd have Carl von Hess against Killer Kowalski. And it was just out of nowhere. And fans like, man, two guys that want to kill each other.
Yeah, but that's not television, though.
No, it was television. I wasn't there live. That was on the WWF TV, except for Bruno Pedro. That was closed.
Right. That's what I was talking about. Bruno.
Yeah, but you can still see it.
Right. But if you can, I mean, that happens in house shows all the time. They just slap people together and just do matches all the time.
Yeah, but it was good stuff. So Logan Paul, John Cena, I think would be a compelling heel versus heel match.
Okay. Now, what I am interested in knowing, Bill, is you map that out for me.
There's nothing to map out. It's a good match that will draw people to want to see it. That's what I think. Oh my God, John Cena, who we hate, against Logan Paul, who we hate. Yeah,
so we're going to hate both of them and boo the whole match. There we go.
No, I think during part of it, I think Logan Paul might become during the match. I think he might become the babyface in
No,
that match.
people can't
Yeah,
stand Logan.
I know they can't, but against John Cena, that might be different.
Man, Bill, you in these matches that you just
I
slapped together.
know,
Man,
I
you know.
know.
All right,
Matchmaker to matchmaker, make me a match.
let the listeners know where to find you, my friend.
Oh, right under there at Twitter X or X Twitter at Apter One Wrestling, and also catch me on Wrestle Binge, the Sportskeeda YouTube channel, where I do every week several episodes of the Time Machine with Mad Mac Davis. One day I'll find out what he's mad about, and Teddy Long, Holla Holla, and also Wrestle Votes with two Joes. Joe What a Day Lowry and Joe from Wrestle Votes. And actually, Wrestle Votes is going on right now because we pre-taped it earlier tonight. So I'm actually on two channels at one time.
Oh, Rick Rude, man. Absolutely, Rick Rude.
Rick, what about Rick Rude?
He was on two channels simultaneously. He was on
Oh,
Raw.
I
and
remember. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That was very rude of people to do that.
Very rude. Very
Yeah.
rude. Very Rick Rude. Yes, indeed.
Dr. Chris, where can people find you?
At Chris Prolific right there. I'm about to hop over right now to Pancakes and Power Slams, where I'll be doing a class on the psychology of friendships and when to let it go. What does friendship mean? What's the science and psychology of it? And when is it time to cut someone off?
There are many kinds of ships in the sea, but the greatest ship of all is friendship, which I share with you, Dr. Chris.
Oh man, you are a dear friend of mine,
You
man.
know that.
Absolutely.
And
Yes,
likewise.
this guy right here, Bill Apter.
That guy over there, Dr. Chris Featherstone, if you will.
Your wheel, baby. This is unscripted. Have a good night, everybody.
This was unscripted. Yeah, really.
It's always unscripted.
Yeah, this was wildly unscripted.
Yes, indeed. So long.